Hello everyone and welcome back. It's Mr. Barnforth here, and our assembly this week is going to be looking at British Science Week, because it is currently, we are in the midst of British Science Week and it runs from the 5th to the 14th of March. So let's have a little look at what we're kind of considering in this year's British Science Week. Innovating the future. It says the theme for British Science Week 2021 is innovating the future. This theme encourages us to think about the incredible inventions that people have made in the past, which can inspire young people everywhere to innovate for the future. But let's think. What does the word innovation mean? Just take a moment, tell your teacher, what do you think that word means? Innovation. Innovation. Okay, well, it says here an innovation, and hopefully you came up with ideas like this, is a new idea, method, or way of doing something. So what is an invention? It's a very similar word. An invention is something that has never been made before. So an innovation is a new idea, method, or way of doing something. An invention is something that has never been made before. It's completely new. So let's think about some inventions that have changed the world. It says modern life is full of inventions that have changed how we live. The television. So John Logie Baird invented the first television in 1924. Televisions first went on sale in the late 1920s. They showed video in black and white only. So it's only been around 100 years of television. It's a 100-year invention. At first, the televisions couldn't send moving pictures of humans, so ventriloquist dummies were used instead. Let's look at some more inventions that changed the world. Modern life is full of inventions that have changed how we live. The first ever car, the first ever motor vehicle. So the first ever petrol-powered car was created in 1885 by Carl Benz in Germany. Its maximum speed was 6 miles an hour, which is not much faster than walking. But it was an absolutely critical invention, because if you think about it, if you wanted to go from Dorset all the way up to Manchester, let's say, well, in the olden days before cars, if you didn't have a horse, you would walk, and it would take days, weeks to get places. But with a car, suddenly people could move at a greater speed, especially as they got further on down the line and they were adapted and made quicker. The mobile phone. The first mobile phone call was made on the 3rd of April 1973 by Martin Cooper, an engineer at Motorola. It weighed 1.1 kilograms, which is about the same as 2 loaves of bread. It was really big, really chunky. Not like they are now. It's one person or a team. Many inventions in the past were made by just one person. Sometimes just one person will notice something that will change the world for millions more. For example, when George de Mestral was walking through the countryside one day, he noticed that some seeds seemed to stick to his clothing. He remembered this, went home and used the idea to create Velcro. We use Velcro all the time. You might have Velcro on your shoes. One person or a team. It says here, many inventions were not really invented by one person at all. Some changed and improved over many years because many different people worked on them. And that's the same with all technology. If you think that mobile phone, which was really big and chunky in 1971, over the years, lots of people adapted it and changed it and made different versions and made it smaller and made it easier to use. The same with televisions. It went from black and white to colour to having sound. It says ancient Chinese civilizations were using an abacus to calculate problems about 5,000 years ago. Then, moving levers and gears of all calculators developed into electronic computers. These enormous early computers were developed into personal computers, PCs, that could fit on a desk. Computers became smaller and smaller, and now we have powerful smartphones which fit in your hands. This has been a team effort over thousands of years. Here's a really old computer at the bottom. So did you know Konrad Zuse, a German civil engineer, created the first programmable computer called the Z1 in 1936? Many of the early computers were the size of a room. There, we've got a little timeline there, starting in 1920, then going to 1970, and finally ending at 2020. Okay, so that's 100 years of inventions. Let's see what goes on there. Well, in 1924, right at the beginning of the timeline, Clarence Birdseye discovered a quick freezing method for making frozen food. Important. In 1928, Alexander Fleming discovered the antibiotic penicillin, and that saved millions of people's lives. Millions of people's lives. In 1938, Laszlo Joseph Biro made the first ballpoint pen, also known as the Biro. And that's just a normal ink pen. And think before that, people had to use either a quill or a fountain pen. But basically, all the ink would come out quickly, and you had to be able to use them quite well, or it would be quite a messy job. The Biro contained all the ink and made it nice and easy for everyone to write. In 1972, Stephanie Kwolek invented Kevlar, the material in bulletproof vests. Important invention to keep people safe. In 1989, Sir Tim Berners-Lee developed the World Wide Web, also known as the Internet. Now, that wasn't that long ago, 1989. So that's what, about 30 years ago? And it's the internet. Think how important the internet is now, how many people use the internet, how we absolutely depend on the internet. In 2011, Apple introduced the first virtual assistant, Siri. So what skills do you need to be an inventor? Well, some inventions happen by accident or through good luck. Some happen with lots of people working together over a long time, as we've thought about. So let's think. What skills do you think you might need to be an inventor? Talk to your friends and feedback to your teacher. What skills do you think, or personal skills, do you need to be an inventor? Okay, let's see what they've come up with. I'm sure you came up with lots and lots of different ideas, but they have said, well, curiosity. So you need to be a curious person. You need to be thinking, is it possible to do something? Could I maybe do this? Is there some way we could change this? Perseverance. This is very important. So perseverance is not giving up, which you'll find with lots of inventors. They didn't come up with an invention and then go home, make it, and the following day it was ready. It took years and years and years of it going wrong, and eventually they got somewhere close to what their invention was meant to be. Patience, and that probably goes along with perseverance, that patience to make mistakes but not to give up. Can you think of any more? We've already thought of some. So we've got a little story here. It's the story of Lonnie G. Johnson. Lonnie George Johnson, that's what the G stands for, was born in the USA in 1949, the third of 6 children. From a young age, he was very curious about how things worked and often took objects apart to look inside. You like that? Some people are like, I've always like that as a child. I've got all my toys and I like to take them into little pieces, take all the screws out, take everything out until they were into all its parts, and then put them back together sometimes. Sometimes it'd work, sometimes it wouldn't. When he was at high school, he worked hard to build a robot for the science fair and won first prize for it. He had pieced it together from a combination of old junk he had found, the inside of a walkie-talkie, and an old music recorder from his sister. Innovation by accident. Well, when he grew up, Lonnie became an engineer. One day, he was experimenting with a new pump in his bathroom at home. Suddenly, he accidentally shot a stream of water across the room. He realised this would make a fun toy, and so the Super Soaker water gun was invented. There we go, he made the Super Soaker. It says, can children be inventors? Well, yes. It isn't just adults who invent. So here are some young inventors who saw a need for something and had a go at making something to help. Well, 11-year-old Cassidy Goldstein was fed up with trying to draw pictures with broken crayons. The pieces were too small to hold onto, so she found a plastic tube at home and put the crayon stub inside there. Her crayon holders are now sold in many toy shops. Well, there you go. That was invented by a child. Well, on holiday in Hawaii, 11-year-old Richie Sachowski went swimming but couldn't talk to his dad underwater. He started researching, then testing, and soon he came up with the water talkie. It's a cone-shaped megaphone-like device that means people can talk to each other underwater. There you go, a water talkie. 16-year-old Boyan Slack went diving on holiday in Greece in 2011. Sadly, he saw more plastic than fish, so he decided to do something about it. He went home and designed a floating barrier that would catch the plastic on the surface of the sea. His company, the Ocean Cleanup, now has more than 90 people working to remove plastic from the world's oceans. Well, that's very impressive. So it says, yes, it isn't just adults who invent. What could you invent? Cassidy, Richie and Boyan all needed something to help them, and so they decided to invent something new to do the job. A necessity is something you need. Think about what this saying might mean. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. Necessity is the mother of all inventions. What do you think that means? Talk to your teacher about that. It's quite a tricky one, but necessity is the mother of all inventions. Okay, it says now it's over to you. What do you need and what could you invent to help you? Just to go back to that, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Well, if something is necessary, something is needed. That's what necessary is, absolutely needed. Well, then someone will find an invention to help them with it. That's kind of what humans do. We're really good at making tools to help us with something that we need. So if we can't, I don't know, make fire, we'll think of a way to do it. We'll invent a way. Necessity is the mother of inventions. So over to you. So it says the organisers of the British Science Week would like you to enter a poster competition on the topic of innovation for the future. So that's the topic, innovation for the future. So it says go to britishscienceweek.org for more information. And I think your teacher will be able to take you there and show you some more information. But we're going to have a go at doing this. We're going to all create a poster. We've got this week and next week to do it. That's a 2-week timeline. And hopefully your teachers will give you some time in class, and I'll hand out some templates, posters that you can do it on. And think about what inventions would really help the future. What would be? Oh, it could be a really good invention. Now you don't have to design it perfectly. You don't have to come up with exactly how it would work, but maybe have a little think about something that's needed and what invention could help. So it might be something to do with helping climate control. It might be something smaller than that, something to do around the house, something at school. What's a problem, a small problem that you can fix with one of your inventions and create a poster of your invention? It says here, science is such a big part in our daily lives. You have a think about some questions that interest you and try to find the answers to them online. So these are some problems that they've got. How can I talk with my friends in Australia? This little girl's saying. Well, she could use a phone on the internet, so that's kind of already been solved. Why is water wet? Oh, okay, I think they're just thinking of nice questions, science-related questions. Why is the sky blue? Oh, she's not thinking. Oh, there. How can I invent smelly vision? Oh, so she's thinking ahead. Smelly vision. That could be helpful. This is the poster from last year's winner. So they did in the British Science Week, they did a biodiversity poster. It's really good. This is from a junior school. I think she was 10 years old. It's very, very impressive. And she's on her walk to school, she's listed all the things that rely on each other, all the different parts of nature which rely on one another. But for your poster, you need to think of an invention. Think of an invention. Draw it out, plot it out, and create a poster. Why is it important? Tell me in there, not just what it is, but why do we need it? Why is it so important? How will it help people? Which people will it help? Okay, and then once you've completed your poster, it'll come back to your teacher and it'll come to me, and I will enter them all individually to the British Science Week and see if we can get a Beer Regis winner, a Beer Regis inventor. Okay, well, have a lovely week, everyone. Bye.